I'm always amazed that you can do that so early in the morning, isn't it? This morning we're going to talk about the dance of aliveness. And as we look at the dance of life and the energy that we're called upon every single day of our lives, the dance of life is being in the energy flow. It's knowing there is a rhythm, there is a cadence to life. And when we're in that flow, we are in the zone. Do you agree? We move beyond time and space. We're not looking at our watch, wondering how we're going to get through this. We are in the space of God. Whatever we conceive our God to be, whatever name we put on our God, that energy is within us. We are created in the image and likeness of God. That is our true self-image. So whatever is going on in the outer world is there. We've called it in, if it's affecting us, so that we can learn and grow and move past it. And Dr. Ernest Holmes, who wrote the Science of Mind textbook, said the only way out is through. The only way out is through. So when we go through each experience, we come out on the other side. And it's so amazing because once we're through it, we think, wow, I was upset about that. We grow so far past it. And I want you to know there are no bad or good experiences. There are just experiences. And when we put, oh, that was so bad, oh my God, I thought it would never end. That doesn't serve us because we'll just recreate it. But when we get it, that we called it in to learn, to grow, to unfold, and to be all that we can be. And when we open up that space to allow the universe to do what it does best, there is aliveness, there's a quickening of that energy within us, and we are in the present moment. And when we are in the present moment, life flows. The point of power is always in the present moment, to be living fully. And that when we experience sadnesses, we're not saying, oh, don't even acknowledge it. Because if we don't acknowledge it, it'll show up again. If we can't feel it, we can't heal it. So as we are open to our entire lives, the joy, the sorrow, the pain, the happiness, all of it, that we experience all of it. And as we begin to experience all of it, we can be so present for others. When we heal our own issues, we can be there for others. I'm always amazed that people say, oh yes, I want to be a healer. And, I've had students that, they want to be a healer, but we know that there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are. We tap into it. And some of us do heal. And I love, there's a guy on Facebook who calls himself the Soul Reader. And he said that he awakened one night. There was an angel at the foot of his bed. And the angel said to him, you are going to do your true work. And he said, what is that? And the angel disappeared. And that he awoke the following morning, and that everyone who came within his energy field, guess what? He could heal them by looking at them, by sharing his love. So energetically, what we know is that there is an angel at the foot of our bed every night of our lives. And that as we heal ourselves and our own issues, and I believe that we all came in with issues to heal, as we heal those issues, we can be so present for others. And one of the books that I heartily recommend is this wonderful book. It's called This Time I Dance. And her name is Tama Keeves. And she was an attorney. And she decided she didn't want to be an attorney anymore. That she wanted to be a creative writer. So she said she let go of her law practice, and it took a lot of courage because it was, it was a good paying job. but it did not make her heart sing. It did not make her dance. And so she let it go and decided, I want to be a creative writer. And she was living in Colorado, and she noticed the university was calling for people that wanted to teach cooking and to teach creative writing and some other fascinating things that were elective subjects. And she thought, dare I enter into this interview room and want to, teach creative writing? I don't have an education degree. Yes, I have a law degree, but I don't have a credential. And so she said something drew her. She said, I was sort of throwing out the dandelion seeds, knowing that they were going to take root. So she said, I was sitting in there and somebody got up and they were just so eloquent about, all of their wonderful credentials and how they wanted to teach creative writing. And someone, a young woman got up and she was in a Navy uniform and talked about trombones and cymbals and, all of this. And another guy, she said, got up and he was so eloquent and just silver-tongued, and then it was her turn. And she thought, oh my God, what am I doing here? I don't have this, I don't have that. It's that voice, the ego voice, that edges God out. That's what ego means, edging God out. And so it came to her and she just stood up and said, you know what, I just love to write because it's fun, fun, fun. And she's kind of thinking to herself, what am I saying? I'm not making a very good impression at all because it's fun, fun, fun. I sat down and she said she mumbled out a few other things. And then it came to where they were to meet with the instructors and those that were hiring. And she thought, on the way home, she said, I was on the verge of tears. I got in a hot bath. I tried to wash the whole experience off. I had never felt so stupid in all my life where, I just couldn't get the words out, but I just knew I wanted to do that. So she went back to the interview, and the interviewing person said, I was told to hire you. She said, excuse me? She says, I was told to hire you. She said, on what ground? She couldn't talk her out of it now. Why? And she said, you had the spark. Your credentials were the spark that ignites the energy in a classroom. Everyone else had experience, and they had all the wonderful things. You had the spark. You had the energy that was going to ignite a classroom. And she said, as she sat there and thought about it, it wasn't really about the words at all. It was about the feeling. That it was about her aliveness. It was about igniting the spark that was going to energize the universe. She said, my credentials were love. I love to write. It's my passion. And that's what got her in. And years later, and she's been on the New York Times bestsellers list. This Time I Dance is a wonderful, wonderful book because it looks at all the things that we feel that we can't make money at, that we're doing what we don't want to do because we're making money. But she said that she took this bold stand, and in the stand of aliveness, something happened. Like when King David, who was once this little guy facing Goliath with his slingshot, all he had, he was the laughingstock, but yet Goliath comes up in our own experience and he became King David. And the Bible states in Psalms that he just absolutely danced down the mountain nude. And for me, that energy is when we are ignited with the passion of life, we dance down the mountain, whatever mountain that is, with nothing encumbering us, because we are there, we are clear, and we are present. And when we are present, that energy comes in. When we are engaged in dancing, we were dancing the night away Friday night with honoring Fleet at his one-man show and all the other singers that he had that were part of it. It was just absolutely fabulous. Everybody was dancing the night away and just energetically in a synchronicity, in a joy, which is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. And when you're dancing, you can't really think about, how am I looking and am I stepping right? You're just kind of doing your thing and everyone's doing their thing. And there's a rhythm, a cadence, an energy, and aliveness that moves into oneness. And that oneness is joy. That is truly the dance of life. And wherever I go in the world, believe me, I always look at the cultures and the native dances. When we go to Africa, it's amazing. They bring in the culture. And this is a Catholic university where they have the dance. And they wear their tribal, the beautiful tribal clothing from that ancient period. And they do the amazing dances. And wherever we go, there is that energy that we are attracting in as dance partners. And when we attract that energy in, we begin to open in amazing, amazing ways. And I always find that I never meet a stranger, that I sit down, and it's so interesting, I sat down coming back from Miami, and a woman said, "Aren't you Dr. Sharon?" And I said, "Yes, I am." She goes, "It's just really amazing. I wasn't sure it was you, but I felt that I needed to ask if it was you." And she said, "I've been wanting to come to your center, for a really long time." And I said, "Now you created me, and there's no excuse. You can just, come on down." Well, she said, "I work a lot of Sundays." But I said, "When you're not, you can come on down." And when we create what we need at each given moment, that thought goes out and energetically returns to us. And when we allow ourselves to open, something amazing happens with that. So as we're looking at our lives and we're looking at so much going on, one of my friends said she was listening to the news, and she lives in Northern California. She just had to run out, and she went for a walk and felt the oneness of the trees, the energy of the path, the smell of the flowers, and the new life, so that she could let it all go. There is so much going on the planet. And when we hear about it, there's a sadness. And I think it's a universal sadness. And that we feel it, we feel it poignantly. And we heard about Robin Williams taking his own life. And he's my generation, and how we've all adored him. And how can someone really deal with so much that they need to leave the planet, but it's not up to us to judge. When my sister took her own life, I just knew that she could not deal with the world as it was. And that her escape into drugs and alcoholism was her way of coping. And when she left the planet, I had her ashes on my altar. And her voice came in, and I shared this at Wednesday Night Live, and she said, "Sharon, now I understand. I understand." She could understand in her light body what she couldn't understand in the physical realm. And what I know is that we pick up where we leave off. So better to work through it, this lifetime, whatever it is, and come out on the other side. And how many do we know that have done that? But in our way of life, we have no judgment how someone leaves the planet. Whatever that soul call is, whatever someone needs to learn, that energy is with them. We extend love. And the Course in Miracles states that miracles are not only progressive moving forward. What are they? They actually go back into the ancestral line. So miracles are progressive, but they also move in the energy of a spiral and heal the ancestral line. And as we open ourselves to the aliveness of life, as we say yes to life, as we acknowledge that sometimes it feels really uncomfortable to apply for something we feel that we have no experience doing, but someone sees the spark. They see the love. They see the energy. And I love this book because she says, if you start dancing and singing, you'll create the band. The band will be drawn to you. If you build it, they will come. If you put the energy in motion, something will take form in the energy center. So when we're thinking, I don't want to participate in life, that is participating. That's a message to the universe. So I want my message to be, as long as I am here totally, completely. That I embrace life at every single level. And I was sharing at our 70th Heavenly birthday party that, you know, I go all over the world speaking. I'm everywhere. Yet I was terrified, absolutely terrified, to take the DMV test and to go to Department of Motor Vehicles. I hadn't taken that test in 30 years. My hairdresser said, I have 5 tests here you can study. You know, and it was so fascinating. Because I studied the tests, I read the book, I even had an audio DMV book, as I was doing other things in the background. And when I took the test, there were a lot of the questions that weren't on what I had studied. I thought, they are so tricky. They're trying to trick me. Okay, intuition kick into place. So I just answered intuitively what I felt was common sense. And the trick is that there's not only a right answer, there's a more than right answer. So, you know, you're doing this thing here. And I just thought, all right, take over. And every single test that my hairdresser gave me to study, which was 5 tests, said -2. You know, it was really interesting. So your subconscious mind, it sees these things, right, and takes it in. And so on one of the questions, I was, you know, intuitively going to answer, and they thought, well, they probably want this answer. It was wrong. Should have just gone with my intuition. But when everything was said and done, I had -2 on my test. And I thought, here, I had studied these tests. My mind went and saw -2. So that's what I created in my experience. And then Dr. Clayton Beaver, who is the attorney/minister, right, was there taking his test as well. So I created a colleague at DMV that we could hug, and he goes, Sharon, you're going to do fabulous. I said, I'm terrified, because you're going to be fabulous, you're going to be wonderful. He goes, you are hysterical. He's laughing at me. He says, you are so funny. I have to just laugh. He goes, I haven't even studied anything. I'm sitting here waiting, and I'm reading the book while I'm waiting. You know, he got -3 on his test. So, you know, life is a test at times. And sometimes we feel terrified. But we walk in anyway, don't we? Because I really like driving. I'm really clear about that. I want to be, you know, driving. And there's someone that we love awaiting us. And full of joy and aliveness. So as we come together and we feel that energy, that we don't want to participate, there's always someone there to take our hand and be our dance partner. And that's what I love about life. And I love about living. And I love doing this work. Because what I know is the veil is very thin, that oneness prevails and moves beyond all of it. And I feel so grateful to be here, to be with you, my spiritual family, that I take with me wherever I go. So what I know is, where are we going? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Yes, we are. And I wouldn't be anywhere else on earth. God bless you.